This is Laura Dean for the Seattle Independent Media Center. I'm here in front of the head shed of the Seattle Public Schools. Military recruiters have been slapped in the face recently by a series of initiatives aimed at blocking their access to students and cutting their supply of fresh meat for the war effort. Not that long ago, high school students converged on the Seattle Central Community College campus to confront the recruiters.
I can't really tell you what recruiters have been doing at Seattle Central Community College, but I can tell you what Seattle Central Community College students have been doing to recruiters, and that's kicking them off campus time and again, including on January 20th, 2005, the Seattle Central walkout here that axed the two Army recruiters from campus. We then went outside and saw 1,000 students from over 10 area high schools and colleges there, and I think that was the rebirth and the removing of the anti-war movement among a student level, and counter-recruitment I think is one thing that can actually push that forward more.
On several occasions, students have picketed local recruiting stations, effectively blockading recruiters up in their own stations.
On May 9th, 2005, the Garfield PTSA became the first in the country to pass a resolution banning recruiters from campus.
Last spring, May 9th to be exact, when our PTA took a stand against military recruitment, not just at Garfield, but at any public school, you would think that we had invented something really cool, like whipped cream or blue hair dye or something like that. We heard from Canadian radio, Japanese newspapers, a Swiss magazine, German television, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, even Fox television. John Carlson had me on his radio show, and he concluded that I was in lockstep with Saddam Hussein. I have a very clear sense that the reason our school's action received the attention it did is because we were a PTA. We were a mainstream organization that has a reputation nationally for not doing much beyond bake sales and classroom volunteering. And I think when a mainstream organization like that takes a stand, it attracts attention.
With pressure mounting, the school board heard testimony from students, parents, teachers, and yes, even recruiters. The school board was considering whether to restrict recruiters' access to public schools and students.
We appreciate the help that Seattle's given us in the past, and we ask that continue so we can recruit these young men and women who have the opportunity to serve.
I oppose military recruiters in our schools. They do not belong there. We must end this interference with teachers' responsibility to present a fair, unbiased atmosphere for learning. We must end this usurpation of parental rights, and we must end this usurpation of parental legal obligation to protect and defend our children from propaganda and lies.
From our point of view in the community, that we disagree with military recruiters being in the high school because it tends to recruit poor people of color to fight people of color. And how that affects our community is something that's not covered in the news, but there are U.S. troops in the Philippines, and thousands of civilians have been injured or killed. And that's kind of being glossed over while everyone's talking about Iraq. But that's happening right now, and we don't agree with military recruiters recruiting Filipinos to go fight Filipinos. Many of them are civilians and are just peaceful, law-abiding civilians. And basically, here in the U.S., from the students I've talked to, almost all of them have been approached by a military recruiter, yet none of them can ever say that they've been approached by a college recruiter. I think there's unequal access going on here.
Military spends billions of dollars of our tax dollars trying to inundate young people with the myth-making that this gentleman just spoke to you about, the idea of the noble soldier, the idea that there are, limitless, boundless opportunities in the military, when in fact, and that service in the military actually makes you a better person. I would say that from the people in the community here and from the massive information we have from vets who have served, in countless bloody imperialistic, colonialistic wars over the course of the last 50 years, the vets that are still around to tell us about it. This is falsehood, this is myth-making.
I was here last month, and around then, about 1,800 U.S. soldiers had been killed in a war for oil and empire. In 1 month, we have seen 89 more killed. One can only guess at the number of Iraqis dead, both passive bystanders and active resistors of an imperialist occupation. In 1 month, $5.6 billion has been spent to bomb, kill, and maim. Over $200 billion has been spent on this quagmire so far. That's $200 billion that could have gone to fixing up our schools. That's $200 billion that could have gone to the victims of the Hurricane Katrina. And people are furious. 6 out of 10 people you'll see on the street today are against this war and want our kids home. I think I can speak for everyone here, except for maybe you and you, when I say that I want my friends, the sons and the daughters, the mothers and fathers, home safe and in one piece now. I call on the school board to pass a resolution that states plainly all military recruiters off of all Seattle schools. This is a chance for our families to raise our voice and to fight against the war and Bush and all he stands for. This is the way for the school board to reaffirm what the parents and teachers and students of Seattle already feel. The school board could just be a budget balancer, or it could be a school board that fights for a better future.
We had over 50 supporters for this resolution and against recruiters in our schools tonight. So I feel like that is a victory in and of itself, that this many community members came out tonight. And I think that our message was really clear to the school board. I think that they picked up certain pieces that resonated with them they maybe didn't know about before. But they have to be in a certain area. That's the first step.
Director Soriano?
Aye.
Director Stewart?
Aye.
Director Bass?
Aye.
Director Flynn?
Aye.
Director Kumasaka?
Aye.
And Director Butler-Wall?
Aye, that item passes unanimously. Thank you all.
The coalition, the Opt-Out Walkout Coalition, wants to see bigger radical change, which is military out of the schools altogether. And that's going to take some pressure. That's going to take more building. And we're just going to have to keep laying it on until that happens.
Activists say that taking on recruiters directly takes on the war by cutting the much-needed flow of young soldiers. The strategy of going up against the military recruiters has expanded the anti-war movement battle lines into what seems to be fertile ground. High school students have rallied around the counter-recruiter campaign here in Seattle and elsewhere. Now new information has recently come out that colleges are also providing student information to recruiters. So we anticipate that this storm surge of activism will spill back over onto college campuses as well. For the Seattle Independent Media Center and Pepperspray Productions, I'm Laura Dean in Seattle.